Prior to January 1984, Michael Jackson never took any kind of drugs. After he was burned in the soft drink commercial, things changed.
I was at the hospital that night, and I remember the doctors saying that they were trying to give him pain medication back then, and he would not take it. And that ultimately he did take some because the pain was so great, but that was a big issue.
When do you think the drug use started?
I believe that a lot of it had to do with the stress of the 1993 allegation.
It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life. One that no person should ever have to suffer. It was a nightmare, a horrifying nightmare. But if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, my complete innocence, so be it.
If they planned an assassination, they couldn't have done it any better. It almost broke his heart.
You okay, Mr. Jackson? You want to take a break? Mr. Jackson, at the break, did you find it necessary to take a pain medication?
Do I find it necessary?
Did you, at the break, did you have to take a pain medication for your pain?
I have suffered and dealt with the same kind of medical problem now afflicting my friend Michael Jackson. Because of that, and because of our friendship, when Michael's doctor called to ask if I could help, I was glad to intervene. I traveled to Mexico City, where I saw for myself that Michael was in desperate need of specialized medical attention. Because of my own experience with addiction to prescription medicines, I was able to make a number of calls in search of the best and most appropriate treatment for Michael, and he is now undergoing such treatment in Europe.
As you may already know, after my tour ended, I remain out of the country undergoing treatment for a dependency on pain medication.
10 years went by, and just as he was beginning to sort of emerge from that trauma, the next set of allegations occurred. And this time it ended up in a trial, and I watched this sort of disintegration of this person take place.
To have to withstand a worldwide media event which continued to say Michael's guilty, Michael's no good, he's a bad person, he's a monster. This had to kill him.
I could see in his eyes that he was dying, that he was gone already. On verdict day, he was not there. He was so vacant.
By the end, when all of the not guilty verdicts came down, he was a shell of the man that we first saw.
Frank DeLeo told me on verdict day, he's not going to get over this. I think that Frank was right. I don't think Michael ever got over it.
And so you've had these high points. What do you consider to be the low point?
Probably the low point, the lowest point emotionally and experience probably what I'm going through.
in the sense, what about it has just kind of stung you?
Just the pain of what I'm going through, to be accused of something where I know in my heart and in my experiences in life I'm totally innocent. And it's just very painful.
If you could describe the Michael Jackson trial in one sentence, what would it be?
A disgrace.
Former defense attorney Tom Mesereau says despite appearances during the 2005 child molesting trial, he doubts Jackson had a serious problem.
I was with Michael for almost 5 months in the trial of his life. He was always very conscious, very articulate. He always understood what I was telling him, and he was very intelligent in his responses. I never saw any indication that he was overly medicated or drugged.
Mark, you defended him, you spent some time with him. What indications did you see, if any, of Michael and drug addiction?
I will tell you that when I was representing him, and it was off and on for about 18 months, I did not see any evidence of disabling drug addiction or anything else. I saw somebody who was always engaged and obviously in his defense and frightened to some degree about what was going on, but I didn't see any evidence of what's almost become, I think, in a way, a caricature of who he was. And so I don't know what to make of it, and I render no opinion. I think a lot of it is speculation, and I'm not so sure that a lot of the people who are out there saying certain things are actually telling the truth.